let's talk about legacy sequels. They're very popular genre. I guess we can call it a genre or a type of movie in theaters. They have taken hold probably since Mad Max Fury Road back in 2015, most popularly with Top Gun Maverick, a billion-dollar film. Ricky Flex, let's throw out some ideas for legacy sequels or reboots that we want to see. These can be cult movies, these could be just classic movies, but let's just go one for one here. What do you have first on your list?
Okay. I'm going to go something to start that's similar to Twister 96, right? This is like a legacy sequel slash reboot. I'm going to do the same thing and do another disaster movie. Dante's Peak.
Oh, a
Well,
cousin of Twister.
it was the year after Pierce Brosnan, just after Bond. Volcano movie. I feel like we could do a volcano movie that's a lot cooler now. It's similar to Tornadoes. I think Dante's Peak, disaster movie, could do very similar. I'm not saying cast Glenn Powell, but it wouldn't hurt. But you could cast a big name similar to Pierce Brosnan, right? And you could get a cast around it similar to Twisters. It's very you could just follow the same formula like Twisters did too, and do your own spin on it. I see Dante's Peak as a great candidate.
I didn't think of this, Ricky Flex. When I was trying to do this, I was thinking of 90s like disaster movies that were reminiscent of Twister. I can't believe I didn't think of Dante's Peak. Uh, yes, like the cast is very similar to Twister. It's uh, a movie where you think, oh, wow, we can make a sick volcano movie in 2024. There is like no volcano movie that is the volcano movie aside from maybe Dante's Peak. There is a opportunity here for a volcano movie. I'm 100% with you, Ricky Flex. Great first one, great lead off there. Okay, I'll give you one. I'll go something that is like a cult movie that is probably made to have someone like a Glenn Powell as the leading role. Uh, Something that we thought we were getting this legacy sequel. I've not heard anything about it, but Flash Gordon. Like Flash Gordon should have a legacy sequel or just a remake. I think it can kind of do either one. And I feel like they're with this age of superheroes, DC, Marvel, a little bit of fatigue, right? Now we can do a superhero thing that's intertwined with sports, and you could have something that's a one off. You don't have to make it some huge franchise. You can get a big star attached to it. Like you have Glenn Powell doing the Chad Powers series on Hulu as a washed up college quarterback who's trying to walk on again to a college football team. Dude, fuck that. Go be Flash Gordon. Like, what are we talking about? Like, or you get like some type of former athlete to play the role. I just feel like there's such a opportunity to have a Flash Gordon legacy sequel at this time. I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. I think Taika Waititi was like trying to
Yes.
create a project like that. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, Taika was behind it. He's talked about it. I think there's still a possibility it happens. Obviously, Taika, his stock is down right now. He has that Jenna Ortega movie that's going to come out, I think, next year. Kind of a lot riding on that, if we're being honest for him. Post his recent bomb, I won't say bombs, but kind of bombs. Next goal wins, and then his misses, Thor, Love and Thunder. So, yeah, I thought about this one. I just thought I feel like it's more of a reboot rather than a legacy sequel, which I think would be great because Flash Gordon, cult classic, even though you know not great movie. Like it wasn't a great movie when it came out either, but people just loved it.
Yeah, and I feel like it should have, if it was going to happen, it should have happened 5, 6, 7 years ago, following like Sam Jones appearing in Ted. And I think he might have appeared in Ted 2. I don't remember Ted 2 with Sam Jones. I would assume he showed up again because it's Sam Jones, and he kind of
I
did
think
mean a lot to Ted.
he was the minister. Oh no, that was the end of Ted. No, that's not Ted 2. I don't remember.
There's an opportunity there. I think a remake is better than a remake is better than a legacy sequel. I agree with you, Ricky Flex. I don't think there's enough people that would care to see the continuation of the Flash Gordon character, right, in his journey from the first film.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one where I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is going to happen. All right. I'm going to say this will happen within the next 10 years. Hopefully less than that. The Color of Money. Give me a Tom Cruise to Glenn Powell sequel to the sequel. So Vincent is now the Paul Newman, okay, and Glenn Powell is going to be the Vincent.
So, okay, I was confused because I'm like, The Color of Money is a sequel. So you're saying this is going to be a legacy sequel to the sequel. Exactly. And it's going to be Tom Cruise and Glenn Powell. That's actually amazing. Oh my God, that's the clip, Ricky Flex. That is an amazing idea.
And I don't think Scorsese would ever do it, but you just get someone else in the saddle. Dude, like Tom Cruise loves Glenn Powell. They want to do another movie together, and he clearly is the heir apparent. You literally make an heir apparent movie.
That's so good. When's the last time we had a good billiards movie? When's the last time?
I don't know. Volcanoes at first, pool now. Like, come on now. Next thing, I would say darts is catching on. You could do a darts movie. These weird disasters / sports. Ping pong is now coming with Timothée Chalamet. Like, let's just get weird.
Get weird. I'm so in on this, Ricky Flex. It's not even funny. And then it should be just a chain or domino effect. So then eventually at the end of Glenn Powell's run, when he's running into the next major movie star, you just continue. And all of a sudden you have 4 films in The Color of Money or The Hustler for,
just keep going with the heir apparents.
The Hustler cinematic universe. This is amazing.
Yeah. It's your rightful passage to being the biggest movie star on the planet.
That takes so much creativity. I respect that pick so much, Ricky Flex. My next one, I think in the vein of like 90s blockbusters, we don't make them like this anymore. That's similar to Twister. I could see potentially legacy sequel, but maybe a reboot of True Lies. And I think True Lies, like we don't really remake Arnold movies, right? Like Terminator is kind of an exception, but Arnold shows up in the Terminators. Like it's like the legacy sequels that he keeps showing up for. For True Lies, I don't think the movie's a masterpiece. I don't think people say True Lies is the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. If I was to do another one, I would love to see because it has a lot of comedic elements to it. It's also has James Bond elements to it. I would love to see like a Dave Bautista in like a True Lies remake. I think that would be cool. And you get someone super sexy alongside him. Put Margot Robbie next to Dave Bautista, or have John Cena play the role in True Lies. I just think that there's an opportunity here. It's a beloved movie, but it's not necessarily good. It's not a masterpiece in my eyes in any sense of the word. I could see this happening more than I wanted to, but I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good pick. I think, again, when we're going through our lists, or like, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. When I was like looking through, like trying to do research for this, I was like, all right, what was a box office success or a cult classic here? And movies that we could like, touch and like they could be, is not disrespect. Like we're not gonna pick The Godfather. Don't touch that. We could touch True Lies. And we could update it and look cool because there's a lot of action sequences there, right? Those are like kind of the thoughts that I'm going through. I think that ticks all those boxes. I think the one thing holding it back is that they just did a TV series on it.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that. But I also just remembered Total Recall has been done a couple times. Like that's
and they're about to do Running Man.
And shit, you're right. So yeah, True Lies is next up. So actually, it's a great pick. It's just they remake so much Arnold shit.
I'm gonna go with something similar because we just mentioned Running Man. And you just mentioned another Arnold movie. We're overdue for an Escape from New York reboot or something.
I was going to say any Kurt Russell movie in the early 80s. I was thinking like Escape from New York would be good, or Big Trouble in Little China. You could easily do something with like all those Kurt Russell movies, no doubt.
Right. Or like you could do a Sylvester Stallone, like Cobra reboot. Like you could do so many different things. Obviously Rambo, they're continuing to do those. So I'm not going to mention that. But Demolition Man, early 90s, Sly and Wesley Snipes. I feel like, that era of the action where like the technology's bad and they kind of know that at the time too, but they're still like forcing it. But you have a big star, you have a great name, Snake Plissken, like, and a great premise, dystopian society, whatnot. You could really shape that up with technology and make it look a lot better. And it's not like we can't touch that. We could touch that and make it better. So I think Escape from New York, that's a decent option.
And just like the piggyback, you talked about Cobra in there. We had a remake to Dread. So if you had a legacy sequel to like the cult classic that is like the Carl Urban Dread, which was like 2012, like I feel like that movie has gained an increased appreciation over the last few years. If you had a legacy sequel to Dread, I think that would work. I'm gonna throw another one out there because they tried to make a reboot of this, and I think it was just done so clumsily and was so miscast. I would love if you had a new version of the Green Hornet. Like if the Green Hornet came back, because you had Seth Rogen, and once you put Seth Rogen in that role, I get it. It's more of like Kato is doing much of the work in Green Hornet rather than the actual Green Hornet. But like you just didn't believe Seth Rogen in that role. I think you could do something really cool. I'm not sure who you would cast in the movie, but I feel like that was an iconic TV series, and it was the start of Bruce Lee's career. And I think there would be a lot of people that would show up at the theaters for it. So I'm gonna throw Green Hornet out there as kind of a play on the superhero genre that's not necessarily full on superhero. I think Green Hornet could be really cool.
That's a really good pick. I think the Seth Rogen one. People forget Christoph Waltz is in that. That failed, and that was already 13 years ago. So yeah, I think we could try a little Green Hornet. We've done Pink Panther, and they did like 3 of those, right? We could do a Green Hornet. I think that's possible. I think that's a good pick.
Let's get Mike Moe to play Kato in the Green Hornet, who played Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's not bad either. Okay, trying to think where to go next.
I feel like the Green Hornet, if you had Kato, the Green Hornet's got to be like someone that's like cunning and like devilishly good looking and that looks the part of a superhero, but Kato's doing like most of the work. So it would be someone like a Glenn Powell being the Green Hornet.
Chris
I'm not
Pratt.
saying, Chris Pratt is kind of like that in between of Glenn Powell and Seth Rogen. It's like you put them together and you get Chris Pratt, to be honest. But yeah, go ahead. Your next one. Sorry.
God, I don't know where to go with this. I have a bunch on my list, but what would be a good one? All right. I'll do God, this is gonna be a hot take. Flashdance.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
1983, not necessarily a great movie, but cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
People loved it when it came out. People love it today. And I don't know. You could do a resurgent. You could either do a reboot for one reboot, or like a legacy sequel of like, oh, like everyone's like going to OnlyFans now, or something like that. Like you could do something, a spin, like a Netflix spin.
Star who wants to make it on like the ballet scene.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I also thought of like Risky Business because that was the same year. I was like, oh, you could do something with Risky Business and like do a spin on that and like be like a manager of OnlyFans or something like that, or just like do just a full on reboot of it, like just the same thing. But
that would be a high school pimp in 2024, just a runner of OnlyFans accounts.
Right. So I was just like, you could do something there. I'm not saying necessarily to be good, but I think Flashdance, I think that's like the one, that's my pick. But I was thinking Risky Business as well, because again, 1983.
Another creative pick. I think you sold me with the OnlyFans concept. That's hilarious. But I think the reason why you think it's a hot take, it's because who would not be happy with this idea of remaking Flashdance is our uncle, Steve-O, former guest of the Drive-In podcast. He would murder you if you found out you were trying to make a remake of Flashdance. He drafted it in our greatest movies of the 80s, like Family Draft that we had before Thanksgiving a few years back. He would absolutely murder you if you heard that take. Funny though. All right. You know what I thought is like things that were beloved in our childhood, and this is a take. Remember Land Before Time?
Love that movie.
So I think maybe you pull like a live action Lion King with the Land Before Time.
Like a crossover?
No. Like how they do like the Jon Favreau directed Lion King where they did the remake.
Oh.
I think maybe you can do that with Land Before Time. Maybe. It's the sentimentality of it. I feel like it would hit a new generation of kids. I feel like Land Before Time, like it's kind of getting forgotten and it's special. Maybe you can do like maybe new form of animation with it. I know it holds such a place in time, but I was just trying to think of things that we loved and we don't want to just fade into nothingness. So Land Before Time, maybe live action, almost like Jon Favreau directing Lion King.
That's a great one. I'm not saying I want it, but like I do also want it because I want it to be relevant because it was so important when we
So
were kids.
emotional, dude. That's
Yeah,
legit
and it's actually good. Yeah, I'm just afraid it wouldn't be good if it went like
I
similar to
know.
like the Lion King. That's
I guarantee you it would not be good. But like I do want to, I could see someone like, hey, like we have to hold on to this. This was special, you know?
I have a bunch on my list that I'm not picking, but like I'll mention honorable mentions where
Yeah,
it's
I'll put
like
them right now.
like that I know they won't be good, but I could totally see them happening, or like they could be like a Netflix series or something like that, or a Netflix movie. You know, that's like like a family fair, Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, like just like throw it like just get something made. It'll get a bunch of views on Netflix. I totally have a bunch here. Um, Weekend at Bernie's,
Yeah.
easily do something there. Um, God, Starsky and Hutch from '04. It's been 20 years already. And Starsky and Hutch, obviously, that was off of the TV show, that movie. Like, you could do something there.
I love that movie, by the way. Love that movie.
Gosh, where else I want to go with this? Ransom, the 1996 movie with Mel Gibson. Great movie, great at the box office. Could easily do a Netflix show on that. I have some other ones. I think War Games. How have we not done a War Games reboot?
That seems easy, especially, oh my God, the age of like Twitch streaming and things like that. It seems that's very doable. And like deep state government people online, like that'd be great. Like that would line up perfectly.
Yeah, I was just kind of shocked with that. What else? Oh, I know this. I think Grisham just came out with a sequel to this, book-wise. But The Firm. We're always talking about a sequel with The Firm.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
No, but there's literally a book now. Like he wrote a book like that's a sequel to it. So I think it's inevitable that movie will come out. But I just thought I'd throw that
if there's already source material for it, it's like almost like Heat 2. Like I wouldn't ask for Heat 2, but if there's material for it, yes, I'm okay with it. And John Grisham's doing it, acceptable. I didn't know there was a sequel book.
Yeah, no. So there's a bunch. I thought of Cocktail when I thought of Color of Money, but whatever. The Poseidon Adventure, Gene Hackman, 72. How has that not been redone?
I think there has been a remake. I think it was just called Poseidon.
Oh. Well, I think with special effects, that could be really good.
Yeah.
Water movie, like I think that could be good. And then I'll say last one I'll mention. I had other ones like Monsters Inc., but that seems like that's going to happen with the way Pixar is going. Similar to Doctor Sleep, to The Shining, you could easily do a Clockwork Orange type of legacy sequel.
It's Kubrick. It's hard for anyone to touch Kubrick. I can't.
Yeah, I know. Like people are probably saying like, oh, you can't like 2001: A Space Odyssey you could redo, but I think that's one that you don't touch. I think a Clockwork Orange you don't do a remake, but you do something with like that era, and you could like go back to like the what's it called when you keep the eyes open, that like kind of abuse. You could do something like that. I don't know. I think you could do something in that universe. Is all I think I'm trying to pitch here. But again, like I'm just running through a huge list that I just wrote down, and that was one where I was like, I could totally see that.
You could do something reminiscent of like maybe Doctor Sleep. I could see that happening with a Clockwork Orange. Like it's everything Kubrick does is beloved, you know, but that's just on like the lesser scale compared to like you're talking about. What's it called? What's the movie? 2001. Things I just want to add to the list: The Bodyguard, Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. Can't you see like a huge movie star, the biggest movie star at the time and the biggest pop star at the time coming together to make a movie? You know, almost like you had with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga with God damn it, what's the movie?
It's Bradley Cooper, Star is Born.
Star is Born.
There's been like three of those.
I feel like you could do something really good with movie stars, right? With The Bodyguard, National Treasure 3, I wrote down, and then obviously The Nice Guys. But yeah, that's pretty much my list.